35-pound string tension.
65-pound string tension.
Let's see which one is better. So our most popular video is where we test two tensions at the extreme ends. So we're doing it now, but we're doing it with more detail.
Yes, and we brought the tensions in just slightly, haven't we?
Yes. So we have got two Yonex V-Core 100s, both with Polytor Rev. This one is strung at 65 pounds.
No, it's not.
This one is strung, hang on. This one is strung at 35 pounds.
And this one is strung at 65 pounds.
So for those that don't deal in pounds, use Google and it'll tell you what that is in kilos, but it's low.
We should have looked it up.
And high.
Yeah. Okay, so what do we expect from these string tensions? So in theory, looser strings, you get more movement, you get more spring, more power, the ball should be spinning more, should feel more comfortable, generally just a little bit livelier.
Yeah, you should have to do less, right?
Yep, and as soon as you go tighter, you get exact opposite. The inverse is an entirely inverse relationship between power and tension. So with my nice tight 65 pounds here, we're getting no string movement or very low string movement, which means it's going to play more like a bat, less like a trampoline. So we should be getting like a solid, consistent contact, but not much happening from the racket.
Yes, and on the tour, the shift has been generally, not for all, but the shift has been downwards towards those looser tensions. Obviously you have Manarino right down at 22, but everyone else, Chris Eubanks dropped down from 50 to 45 this year. Lots of players dropping the tension. You still get your Isners and stuff like that up at 60, 65, but the trend is towards the lower. So we're going to see what we prefer.
And at this point we should point out that we both normally go with 50, so that's why we've gone 65-35. We've gone exactly 15 up, 15 down from where we normally string, so it is entirely even in terms of we've gone the same distance tighter and the same distance looser.
So let's get on court, put them through their paces, we'll let you know what we think. All right, we have just come off court playing with 65 and 35 string tension, and it is a very different experience with each racket, isn't it?
It certainly is. Maybe not quite as broad as I was expecting.
I think, well, interesting. I think in terms of feel, it is.
Yes.
It feels very, very different, and you have to make some adjustments, but you can play with both these tensions.
Yeah, and that was the first thing you said, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like first headline, I'd play with both.
Yeah,
I think
they're both playable.
Yeah.
Which is kind of surprising, and obviously they do certain things better than the other, and they do things very differently. So with the 35, let's start.
Yeah, so I was thinking about, whilst I was playing with it, I was like, what is this like? And I couldn't think of anything I've already experienced. So my mind went to owning a pet crocodile.
Okay, of course.
I'm sure it'd be really good fun occasionally, but most of the time you're going to be just a little bit worried.
Yes.
And so worried if you're not really ever going to enjoy the experience.
That's a very good analogy.
It's always a bit uncomfortable.
Yes.
And that's what I think, with this racket, every now and again, there's one point, wasn't there, I screamed that ball past you effortlessly.
Yeah.
Like, just stuck the racket out and push, down it went, oh, this is great.
Yes.
But then the next 3 points, you're having to sort of, oh no, don't do that, oh, don't swing too much. And that would be my overriding feeling, is it's not worth the pressure, almost.
No, exactly. I think that with the 35, what you get is it can be very easy, but you have to be, I certainly had to be wary. So there's a ball down the line where normally I would come and I would play it, lot of backswing, crush through it, and as I was approaching the ball, you're thinking, oh no, I've got the 35, I can't do that, let me just shorten that backswing and guide it, and you get plenty out of it. And that's what's great, is that you don't have to do very much to get a lot out of it, but it is difficult to control. Yeah,
and I think obviously this is going to depend on the environment you find yourself in, your play style, your opponent's play style, the surface, all that kind of thing. And it was like, if you're going to defend, and it kind of makes sense, Manarino, who's got the loosest tension, as we said, very short swing, punchy player, makes perfect sense.
Yes.
But as soon as you want to have a big long swing at the ball, I just don't trust it.
No.
So maybe if you're playing on clay and you're 4 meters behind the baseline and you want to get as much action on the ball as possible, but not here, not today. It's just out of control the whole time.
Exactly. Quickly through the categories in terms of power, loads of it, just incredibly difficult to control. Spin,
loads.
Absolutely loads. There are kick serves that are jumping up really high. There are big topspin forehands that are taking you way back into the court. So for that, it's great. Control, difficult.
None.
Difficult.
Almost none.
And touch and feel. I think that if you're sort of blocking the ball back and sort of touch and feel and return of serves, yes, manageable. In and around the net, really difficult. Drop shots, really difficult, just because that string is moving so much. Very difficult to control. It ends up trampolining away.
Yeah.
The 65.
Exact opposite, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much the exact opposite. And I think that the one thing I'd say about the 65 is that I have to adjust my game less. I have to think about it less, because you can swing more freely, because you can go for it more, because that tightness means that you're just getting a lot less string movement and therefore a lot less action off the strings.
Yes, but you're having to work really, really hard to get it.
Yes.
Like all the time, every single shot's an effort, every single ball is going to require like maximum input from you, the player, which again, is great, depending on the situation you find yourself in.
Yeah. So again, if you're defending with this, really tricky. With this, really easy.
Yeah.
You can just get your racket there, and it's going to fly back at a good length.
Certainly better around the net.
Yes, much better around the net. Much more control. Be able to sort of absorb that energy rather than propelling it like a madman. Again, through the categories: power, not masses; spin, some but not masses; touch and feel, better than that, but again I would still drop my tension down lower to get the most out of that. And in terms of control, that's where it exceeds. It's much more difficult to miss.
Yeah, so again I would say serve and volleyer. Someone who plays on a quick surface, grass court, AstroTurf court like we're on, this probably makes a bit more sense. Longer swings, this probably makes a bit more sense. Playing flatter makes a bit more sense. I would say the lower tension is probably the reserve of a higher level player on a slower surface.
I'd agree.
I would go with.
I'd agree.
But not to be negative.
No.
I think that if you had the time and the willingness to commit, and you really played and really practiced, I would say 35 is better than 65.
I know what you mean.
It's just that 65 is easier.
Yes. It's easier to control the ball, therefore you miss less, and therefore it all feels easier. But this is kind of more fun.
Like the crocodile.
Exactly. Exactly. So there you have it. That is the string test. 65 versus 35. Both have their pluses and minuses. I would still say go somewhere in between. I'm sticking at 50, I think. Don't forget to follow, don't forget to share, definitely don't forget to subscribe, so you never miss a thing from us
at PH Tennis.